Now we have the first in our series of app categories we trailed last week, where we're going to talk about apps that we think are particularly useful for you to have on your phone as a blind person. And first up this week, we have ebooks and ebook readers. In this segment, we're going to primarily talk about apps, but we will show you some of the ones we talk about briefly. Obviously, there are quite a lot of apps in these categories, and that's in part why, as Austin mentioned, we're going to be putting up some extra content on YouTube, because otherwise a podcast would be half a day or longer. Warren, do you want to introduce our ebook reader segment this week?
Thank you so much, Ed. This is a very important part of the podcast because, you guys, you got your phone and there's certain things that you need. You want to be able to read. And here's where ebook readers come in. There are several of these things on the Play Store, and it all depends on personal choice and preference and what it is considered to be important for you when you're looking for an ebook reader. I think that for me, when I'm looking for an ebook reader, a couple things come to mind: the syncing capability, and then the second one, most important one, would be as to whether or not it supports a table of contents, and then also if it has a TTS readout, because as a blind person, I don't want to keep, swiping and swiping or, moving from one page to the next, trying to read. Instead, I want my TTS engine to read it for me. And so these are some of the things that I consider when I'm looking for an ebook reader. I need to make sure that at least all three of these are present, and that would be what I look for in an ebook reader. Now, we talk about EPUB, and I prefer EPUB format, and a lot of these things are there on the Play Store, like I said. And being the historian, let's talk a little bit about the history of EPUB, e-publishing. That's what that means. And it came to us back in 2007, I think September of 2007, when an international group, met together and came up with the whole idea of this EPUB, e-publishing. So that is the history of that. And with that said, then we will now jump into some of the ebook readers that we think you may want to get on your phone and talk about them, talk about their weaknesses and their strengths. Edward?
Thanks very much, Warren.